at that badass joke that Chris said like every fucking body else. And then Jada looked at him and it was like the Manchurian Candidate.
The Manchurian. Not the Manchurian, God damn it.
I'm saying that because of the artist that I just spoke to not that long ago that got invited to a party at their house. Everything was cool up front, so they went to the back and there was a bunch of old and young boys back there, all naked in the Wade house.
So Jaguar Wright is back at it, and she's as usual exposing someone in the entertainment industry. And who's in the hot seat right now? It's Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. You've probably heard the rumors about what goes on in their house. Those stories have been making rounds for years. People are always going on and on about Will Smith, the rumors about his sexuality and gay secret parties, and some even say he's part of a secret gay club for the Hollywood elite. But I mean, it's not like the idea of celebs throwing exclusive parties is anything new, right? Hollywood's always had its share of wild events or freak-offs, as we have been made aware of now, which has gotten people like P. Diddy in trouble with the authorities. But the main reason for the story today is the claims made by Jaguar Wright. And guys, these are some pretty deep allegations because she's saying that Will Smith, and from her own words, raped Jaden Smith. Yep, that's his own flesh and blood, which makes the story take a whole different direction. One thing about the Smiths is they know how to keep us talking, and so we are going to dive right into that. But first, let's take a look at Will's weird pattern of behaviors first.
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to puffy camp?
Hell no.
So Jaguar Wright has been pretty open about people like Diddy being on the DL and how he in particular organizes these gay parties, or as we now refer to as freak-offs. Even his former, who confirmed the ordeal Cassie had to go through, also gave an account on walking in on Diddy having gay sex with his employees in his office. So from what we know, they are actually pretty exclusive. And guess who's rumored to be on the guest list? Yeah, Will Smith. It's like he's got an all-access VIP pass to the secret side of these freak-offs or something. And when it comes to these kind of parties, Jaguar Wright is not the only one to call the industry out. When the whole Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard drama was going on, Jessica Reed spilled some serious tea where she mentioned Amber would bring in young, mostly queer young folks, to these high-profile parties. We're talking parties thrown by the rich and famous, where Elon Musk's name even popped up in the mix. Now here's where it gets wild. Some people who've been to these parties say they were given substances right before the fun began. These parties were fueled with insane amounts of MDMA, so they were pretty out of it and couldn't tell up from down. And the vibe? Imagine a rave meets a costume party, but with a creepy twist, like demonic themes and strange performances in front of everyone. But that's Hollywood for you, always keeping things interesting. Now, Will Smith is not the only one who has name dropped to be at these events. Jaguar Wright went ahead to throw in people like Dwayne Wade into it as well. It's like a secret celeb club, which is not so secret now because we all know about it, but it's still being kept under wraps. Baron Hauptman, Dwayne Wade's ex-business partner, backed up those claims with some serious allegations. He got into business with Dwayne thinking he was with the next big thing, a real family man and a stand-up guy. But according to Baron, the reality was a different story. Baron spilled that Dwayne had this apartment where he threw some wild adult parties that were mostly gay, all while he was married. And the details are pretty graphic, like a 4-bedroom place turned upside down. One day Baron gets this call, heads to the apartment, and finds it in a total mess. He says, quote, "It was a 4-bedroom place on the first floor of a high-rise," said Von Hauptman, who through 2007 met with Wade and or Andrews almost daily. "One day I got a call from my cleaning crew at the apartment. I went down there and what I saw was disgusting. The apartment was trashed, filthy, and it wasn't the first time. They'd have these parties in there 2 or 3 times a week," Von Hauptman said. "There were always dozens of people in there, rappers, Dwayne, and his entourage." In her interview, Jaguar's not the only one pointing fingers. The idea that Will might be involved in some off-the-radar activities doesn't seem too far-fetched. Like for us, where there's smoke, there's fire. And in this case, the smoke's been lurking around for a while. Trisha Paytas, another influencer and public figure, who's no stranger to controversy, threw her own accusations into the mix. When she was in the heat of defending Shane Dawson, when the internet was trying to cancel him, Trisha didn't hold back. She took a swing at Jada Pinkett Smith, who had called out Shane for his actions towards Willow, her daughter, who was being sexualized by Shane. Trisha then quickly flipped the script on the Smiths, making Jada aware, point blank, that she should turn her attention to Will's alleged behavior instead. She said, "How about you worry about your cheating husbands, my male dancers, when they don't want to?" Now, these claims are pretty bold. She did, in fact, accuse Will of getting cozy with one of her male dancers. The way she tells it, these said dancers are more in Jaden's age group than that of Will's, which adds another layer of complexity to the whole drama.
How about worry about your cheating husband my male dancers, when they didn't want to? How about talk about that?
And then here comes Tisha Campbell, who in 2020 made an Instagram post which seemed to add more flesh to the already bubbling rumors about Will Smith and her ex-husband Dwayne Martin. The pair's friendship has long been the subject of speculation. A lot of people have always suspected something was going on. With their numerous vacation getaways to Las Vegas, Miami, and even a private cruise in Trinidad, while their spouses Tisha and Jada were home waiting for them. These trips raised a lot of suspicion, to say the least, and did little to validate the rumors about what their bromance really entailed. The post in question says, quote, "The truth always comes out in the end, no matter how hard anyone tries to hide it." And the caption was, "Don't have to say a word. God reveals all. Can't put a spin on that." Followers quickly connected the dots when Tisha emphasized the name Will in caps in her comments. It was like she was hinting without saying it outright that there was more to Will and Dwayne's relationship. She ended with a powerful comment about lies and how the truth is inevitable, suggesting that people will eventually realize what was going on. Another person who had similar allegations against Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith is Alexis Arquette. She made some bold accusations about Will and Jada's personal lives, suggesting that they were both bisexual and were keeping their bisexuality under wraps. Arquette, who is known for her outspoken nature, took to Facebook with a post that has since been deleted. She alleged that Will's first marriage to Cherie Zampino ended in a dramatic way when she supposedly caught him in an intimate moment with another man, specifically his mentor Benny Medina. Arquette didn't hold back, stating that she'd only take Will and Jada's advocacy seriously when they themselves come clean about their sexual orientations and the true reason behind Will's first divorce. It was a statement that certainly raised eyebrows and left people talking, which reads, quote, "When Jada comes out as gay and her beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked in on him servicing his sugar daddy Benny Medina, then I will listen to them." The transgender actress later added in the comment section, she, being his first wife, paid off, silent. So Jaguar then seems to confirm all these rumors that's been floating around, saying, quote, "I'm saying that because of the artist that I just spoke to not too long ago that got invited to a party at their house, everything was cool up front. Just listen from her own mouth."
I'm saying that because of the artist that I just spoke to not that long ago that got invited to a party at their house. Everything was cool up front, so they went to the back and there was a bunch of old and young boys back there, all naked in the Wade house.
But it turns out they got a reality check and realized he was not the man they thought he was and bailed. Jaguar also threw in names like Meek Mill, August Alsina, and Bashir Gray.
Meek Mills, Bashir Gray, left that house screaming. August, the only one that stayed in.
Which definitely got people talking. Now, according to Jaguar, initially all of them flee except August Alsina, who has since then been entangled in rumors surrounding the Smiths. Back in 2020, he made headlines by claiming he had a romantic relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith in 2016, and he suggested that Will Smith was aware of the relationship and had given his blessing. This bombshell led to Jada and Will addressing the claims on an episode episode of Red Table Talk where Jada acknowledged that she and August did in fact have a connection, which she famously referred to as an entanglement, during a period when she and Will were separated. Now, mind you, Jada at first denied this affair until they finally admitted it on the Red Table Talk.
It's a situation that I consider private.
You just feel like it ain't really nobody's business. But now Black Twitter has claimed it as their business. And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
Interestingly, though, August also came out with his new boyfriend, which raises questions about the dynamics back when he was involved with Jada. Honestly, both Jada and Will have said things about their marriage that only add fuel to the smoke. Now, concerning mentorship turning into something more, August Alsina isn't the only name that comes up. Sure, he's been vocal about his affair with Jada, which he insists happened with Will's consent. It's even crazy to think that Jaden Smith might have been aware that his dad had okayed a relationship between his mom and one of his friends right under their roof. That's a lot for anyone to process, and it naturally leads to speculation about what kind of environment that might have been for him, which then makes sense why Jaden would want to distance himself from his family. Whatever Will and Jada Smith have been doing to young men in the name of mentorship is what has driven Jaden away, and people have had their suspicions for years, with signs here and there, like Will literally planning a mouth kiss on Jaden in public.
He tried to kiss me in the Have you ever kissed your son on Thai television before?
You're allowed. I can kiss my son.
Can you kiss him on Thai television?
I can kiss my son. Jaden, come on.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Oh my God. Ridiculous.
Dude, come on.
What the hell, man?
And guess what the ex-wife Cherie Zampino had to say? She revealed that other than Jaden, Will's other son Trey also got mouth kisses from his dad. She said, quote, Will is pretty affectionate. Yeah, he right on the mouth. And you can imagine, these boys hate it.
Will is pretty affectionate. Yeah, he right on the mouth. And you can imagine these boys hate it. They're like, but I think they really love it.
Cherie also added that she personally does not feel the affection is weird, and also revealed how Will Smith is handling what she calls haters who come up with stories about their family, saying, quote, Will could care less. I mean, he really could. He understands, to me, he understands what comes with his territory. He gets it, and it's small. I think in his mind, he's got a very healthy perspective, so it's a small price to pay for what he's built. He's really built an empire.
Will could care less.
That's what he said.
I mean, he really could. He understands. You know what I mean? He understands what comes with his territory. He gets it. His mind, he's got a very, very healthy perspective. So it's a small price to pay for what he's built. He's really built an empire.
And get this, we are not the only ones who think kisses on the mouth is weird. Yep, Jaden himself made it very clear that those kisses on the mouth were not okay. He said, quote, I think there's a time and place for those types of things to happen, right? Home, we'll talk about it. You want to hug, you get a hug, right? So the mouth kissing in public feels like a problem, definitely an issue. While other folks might not blink at a parent planting a kiss on their son's lips, thinking it's just a sign of affection, even if others might cringe at the thought. Every family's different, right? But when it comes to the rumors about Will and Jada, these rumors have been about them possibly sharing kisses with others, not just their kids, which once again makes some people wonder about the boundaries in their personal lives. They're both bisexual. They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from their mentorship.
Both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house fucking screaming to get away from them in their mentorship.
And my thing is, if you hear something from just one person, you might think they've got a grudge or something. But if you start hearing the same story from a bunch of different people, it's like, hold up, maybe there's more to this. It's that vibe of where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, it makes you think that there's got to be some truth behind all the claims. What we are trying to say is, this weird acts that we have been seeing over and over again, and now these allegations from Jaguar saying Will raped Jaden Smith, among other people, and wanted to get away from his family, might be the reason Jaden seems to keep his distance from his family and not want anything to do with them. Connecting the dots with what's been said out there, it adds up why Jaden might react in his own unexpected ways too.
Bilal told me, Jaden, he told me that you knew Will was f***ing your child.
Take, for example, that time back in 2013. Jaden apparently reached his limit, and for his 15th birthday, guess what he asked for? He didn't ask for a car or a big party. He wanted emancipation from his parents. And if that wasn't jaw-dropping enough, wait until you hear how Jada reacted when her son dropped a bomb about wanting to go his own way at just 15 years old. She said, being in this lifestyle, in this world, is a bubble, and he wanted out. I understood that because I didn't have the bubble. I knew what freedom I had outside the bubble, what I gained from that. I knew the sooner I let him go, the faster he was going to come back. Maybe with Jaden stepping out on his own, it would free up some room for more of his parents' weird and unusual hobbies at home. Who knows, right? And it's not just Jaden. His sister Willow has been going through similar things. It's like she's mirroring what she sees at home. Do you guys remember when a photograph of her with a shirtless Moises Arias was circling around the internet when Moises was 20? This was in 2013. When Willow was just 13. Like, what business does a 13-year-old have with a shirtless 20-year-old man in bed? It got so heated that the authorities were called to check in on the Smith household. Now, guess what the parents' response was to that? When asked by TMZ what she thought about it, Jada said, quote, "Here's the deal. There was nothing sexual about that picture or that situation. You guys are projecting your trash onto it."
Can you comment on the picture that was posted on Instagram of Willow and Moises?
No comment. Here's the deal. There was nothing sexual about that picture or that situation. You guys are projecting your trash onto it.
They thought Willow was mature enough to make her own decisions at such a young age. They even saw that controversial photo as an expression of art. She basically just shrugged it off, saying there was nothing wrong with it, and going further to say the media and everyone else was acting like pedophiles. Can you imagine? Someone better remind Jada it's not our 13-year-old daughter who is in bed with a shirtless 20-year-old, so maybe the call is coming from inside the house. Willow's been open too about loving both men and women, and in 2021 she came out saying she's polyamorous. She said, quote, "With polyamory, I feel like the main foundation is the freedom to be able to create a relationship style that works for you and not just stepping into monogamy because that's what everyone around you says is the right thing to do."
Polyamory, I feel like the main foundation is the freedom to be able to create a relationship style that works for you, and not just stepping into monogamy because that's what everyone around you says is the right thing to do.
Right. She goes on to say, quote, "So I was like, how can I structure that way that I approach relationships with that in mind?" Who knows? Maybe Willow's perspective on relationships was influenced by her parents' openness and she viewed it as a standard way of life. Another moment that showed Willow's struggles was during an episode of Red Table Talk where she confesses to self-harming following the success from her single, Whip My Hair. In a separate talk, she disclosed that she started exploring adult content before her teenage years. Surprisingly, Jada was aware and chose not to intervene. Like, what parent does that? When it comes to Jada on her parenting and being a wife to Will, Jada has always been pretty clear about her stance on independence within her marriage. She's mentioned that she's told Will he's free to do whatever he feels right about, as long as he can face himself in the mirror and be at peace with his choices. She emphasizes that Will is his own person and that she's there to support him as his partner, not to dictate his actions or decisions, nor is it his place to control hers. And when it comes to parenting for them both, with their unconventional approach to parenting, you might think Will and Jada would be strict, but that's far from the case. In a 2013 interview with E! News, Will was questioned about the last time he disciplined Jaden, and his answer was, "We," and by we, he means him and Jada, "don't do punishment. The way that we deal with our kids is they are responsible for their lives. Our concept is, as young as possible, give them as much control over their lives as possible, and the concept of punishment, our experience has been, it is a little too much of a negative quality. So when they do things, and you know, Jaden, he's done things, you can do anything you want, as long as you can explain to me why that was the right thing to do for your life." And in a discussion with Hot Living, Will explained, "We treat our children with the same respect we would give any other person. For instance, we don't insist on them tidying their rooms. After all, you wouldn't command another adult to do that. So we apply the same principle to our kids. We cannot wrap our heads around the extent of what not only their children, but also all the young individuals they were supposedly mentoring had to go through at the hands of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. I mean, we all saw and continue to see the public meltdown of Willow and Jaden, and the public men they were supposed to mentor faced setbacks and their career hit the fan. The entire situation is chaotic, and given the pattern of behavior, the allegations are deeply concerning and something to really think about. And as always,